Alright, so we have the Corsair H70 hooked up. We've got the two fans blowing at full speed in a push-pull configuration. It is quite loud, as I mentioned before. There you can see the updated Corsair CPU block / pump unit. So I'm just coming around to this side so you can get a better look at it. Alright, and then we've got the flexible hose barbs along with the rotary fittings. That's the word I was looking for. That will rotate according to where you want to mount your fan radiator unit. Now, you're going to see performance is quite a bit better than the Vantage unit, and the reason for that is because of just the basic laws of physics. Here, compare the radiator size. Whoops. Okay, there, compare the radiator size. You can see the H70 radiator is about 3 times thicker than the Vantage radiator, and it just comes down to the basics of how much surface area is there, how much heat can you dissipate. Well, there you go. So that's why the Vantage didn't get much of a benefit from 2 fans, but the H70 does, is because you actually need a lot more static pressure to push the air through such a thick radiator and get all that cooling potential out of it. So as a last comparison, I'm going to throw a decent high-end air cooler on here and see how that compares to the H70 as well as to the CoolIT Vantage. I'm just dismantling the H70 right now, and I thought I'd actually give CoolIT major props for their mounting system, which is so easy. You just align the little bolt through on the top. So you just align it with the line for which mounting mechanism you need: 1366, 1156, and 775, and then they have 3 separate back plates for all 3. And then they've got like these great thumb screws that you can use to bolt it on. And the Corsair one, while it's very secure and attaches well and all of that good stuff, it's a little bit finicky. You have to put it together, you have to put these little plastic clips in, then you have to thread the screws through, and then you gotta like kind of position the whole thing in the right place, and then you gotta use a screwdriver. It has no thumb screws. You gotta insert the little pegs in the back of the back plate. It's not really very intuitive. Like I said, once it's on, it looks good and it's very secure, but it could use a little bit of ease of use work. Alright, so now we've got a Noctua NH-U12P on the bench. I'm using those same Corsair fans because I want this to be as much an apples to apples comparison as possible. So you can see there, I've got the other Corsair fan on the other side. Now what I want you to note, first of all, is the size. So look at the density of the fins on there, look at the density of the fins on the Noctua, look at the approximate physical sizes of the 2 units. You can see they are quite similar. Now, what you're about to see may shock you. The Noctua unit performs not as well as the H70. Alright, so it's about 5 degrees higher than the H70, but that is to be expected given that it is not optimized for high RPM fans. It is actually optimized for low RPM fans. So if we were to take a cooler, which I probably should have done in retrospect, that has a more densely packed fin arrangement, we'd probably actually see similar performance to the H70. Now that's not to say that the H70 doesn't have a place in the world, because the reality of it is that coolers like the Vantage, with their LCD screens, their programmable wireless communication system for lights and other cooling devices in your system, have a place. They belong with people who are more worried about the features than the maximum possible overclock. Coolers like the H70, I mean really at 5 degrees better than this particular tower cooler, that puts it right up there in the top of air coolers. So, you know, that's an impressive feat in itself, and in a nice compact package that allows you to A, ship your system if you need to. So if you're buying a system online, the H70 is a great choice because it's much less likely to come dislodged because it doesn't have as much weight hanging off the CPU socket. And it also allows you to... Oh wait, hold on, I was going to say something else. Right, yeah, it allows you to take your cooling element, so your cooling radiator, whether it's a radiator on a CPU heatsink or a radiator with water flowing through it, and put it right at the back of the case where you can take nice fresh air and use that to cool it, so you can get better CPU temperatures at the cost of slightly worse internal case temperatures. So thank you for checking out my little review. I'm actually not going to bother with the graph after all because I showed you guys the temperatures. In fact, here, I'll even... You know what? Here's how I'll do my graph. NH-U12P. Okay, and then that one was about 73 to 81. So I'll show you guys the cooling performance that I had written down. So you can see the Vantage with its stock fan was a little bit higher than the Vantage with dual fans. The H70 is the big winner in terms of performance, although it is quite expensive. And then the NH-U12P, I believe that's the SE2 or something like that, was somewhere in between. But you have the convenience of it just being an air cooler and just strapped to the CPU heatsink brackets. CPU mounting holes. That's what I was looking for.